Hey everybody, it's Kyle. Hey, today I wanted to share with you a quick story about one of my sons having a meltdown at a movie theater because I'm on my way right now to meet my family. My wife took all the kids over to see the new movie out right now. I guess it's Ant-Man and Wasp or something like that. But anyway, I guess a couple of years ago, she took them all to see the movies, and my son Eric got overstimulated and kind of ran out of the theater, was kind of crying and screaming and getting a little physical, and ran into the bathroom and was causing quite a stir in the movie theater. And obviously you might have experienced these kind of things before, and the question is, what do you do? Well, I want to tell you what my wife did, because it allowed her to do some autism awareness unexpectedly in the right way. And so she actually asked somebody at the movie theater to go in and check on him, and he was kind of holed up in a stall in the boys' restroom. And so she had him go in there and check on him. He was okay. He was just kind of in a stall crying. And when he finally came out, he hadn't really subsided his crying much. He was still pretty upset. And like I said, really overstimulated. And you know what that can be like. And so he was sitting on a bench in the hall. My wife was sitting next to him, and I'm sure it looked pretty unusual for a mom to be sitting there with her, 16-year-old son, just crying and kind of kicking his feet and really having a tough time. And she was comforting him, and she was really just kind of putting her arm around him as much as he would let her, and telling her it's going to be okay, and kind of getting down on his level with him. And she noticed that people were walking by kind of staring. It was causing a little bit of a stir. So she actually stood up for just a few seconds, walked over to one of the guys that was running or working in the theater, and told him, she said, my son is on the autism spectrum. He's kind of gotten overstimulated. Anybody who walks by that's curious, if you'll tell him to wait around for a few minutes, I'd be happy to explain what happened. I just want to get him settled down and get him back into the theater. So she said in the next 5 or 10 minutes, or maybe 15, probably seemed like an hour, she comforted him and she got him to go back in the theater. And so she stepped back out and, walked over to where the candy and all that kind of stuff was. And there was 7 or 8 or 9 people there just waiting. And it was kind of shocked her. She really didn't expect anybody to wait around. But sure enough, they did. And some out of curiosity, some out of probably thinking she was a bad mom because she couldn't handle the situation. Some of them probably to, for empathy reasons. But anyway, she then went on to explain to them sometimes how our kids that are on the autism spectrum can get overstimulated. And sometimes the best things to do is just sit down with them quietly and try to calm them down. And it's really, in this case, it can be bad behavior, but in this case, it wasn't bad behavior so much as it was just all the lights and the sounds kind of got to him and set him off into that meltdown. And so, she really made a connection with these 7 or 8 people. And I'm glad you can't see my eyes, because they're kind of welling up a little bit when I think of how, sometimes when we get put in situations where there's embarrassment, or when our kids are in stressful situations, we can kind of take out our frustration on other people and, say things like, what are you staring at? Or, it's really easy for us to fall into that trap. And really, that becomes autism awareness. What my wife and I have discussed, autism awareness in kind of a bad way. We become that angry parent. And we really don't help our child on the spectrum. So we've talked about becoming more calm and cool and collected, and then really allowing people to see us in that state, no matter what our kids are going through. It's the best idea for us is to be the parent and not let their escalation create an escalation for us. And I asked my wife afterwards, I said, weren't you kind of upset that you were missing the movie? And she said, really, Kyle, you think a movie is more important than my son to me? And I said, no, I don't think that. I guess that was a dumb question to ask, but she can go back and watch that movie at any time, but she can't show her son our son how much she loves him when he's in an escalated state, unless she is in the right state of mind and is calm. And so, at that moment, she had the opportunity to share and do some autism awareness. The right kind of autism awareness is what we call it, is showing people and letting people see what our lives are like and what the true reality of what we have in our, what we face and what we have to go through, but also understanding that it's not going to make us, that it's not the end of the world, and that and we want to explain to them, if they'll give us a chance, what's happening so they can better understand autism and those things that go along with it. So I'm so proud of my wife for that moment. I know she's done it more than once. That one just jumped out to me because I'm going over to meet them for dinner after they've watched another movie. And guess what? I didn't get a call. I guess everything's going great. I'm sure it is, because my wife handles things the right way, by showing love and kindness and compassion, and then the ability to share the right kind of autism awareness with others who are willing to listen. So hopefully you can do that too. Have a great day. I'm going to have a great day. I think we're going to go to Costco and maybe eat pizza. I think it's the only place we can feed our whole family pizza for $20. So have a great evening. I will, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.